Welcome to Breathing Fire. That's MSUM's podcasting class, first ever podcasting class. I'm Dallas Korelc. I'm going to be hosting this one. This is my segment. And this is Kyle Youmans, DallasCowboys.com writer, my favorite team. And we've got Kyle Youmans here, host of Talkin Cowboys podcast, joining us today.
Yeah, appreciate you having me, Dallas. And you've got the right name to have a favorite team called the Dallas Cowboys, just to say the least. And yeah, excited to talk with you. I hear your class is doing some cool things and setting things up the right way for you guys to have some success.
Yeah. I'd be wrong to not be able to talk Cowboys with with someone from Talkin Cowboys joining me. I mean, we can get straight into it. I got a little segment for us. I designed a little segment where I can name us a player on the Dallas Cowboys roster right now, and I want to hear your grade, just like your immediate grade.
Okay.
Because I've got some guys that I really like on this list, and some guys that I feel like, especially fans, maybe don't totally love this season at this point. But let's start off with an easy one. I got Dak Prescott.
Yeah. I'm going to go, easy one. It's A+. The way that he's played right now is about as good as he's ever played in his career. He's playing at an MVP caliber level. The fact that he has the 7 touchdowns to this point through the air, he's got 6 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground to make that 7 total. And he's completing over 71% of his passes. It's really impressive. And last year, there was a conversation through the first month of the season about Joe Burrow and how well he was playing on a losing team that started 1-3. Well, Dallas is 1-2-1. And when you look at the comparison from a statistical standpoint, Dak Prescott has played better this season against a tougher schedule than Joe Burrow even played last year when he was getting MVP conversation despite a 1-3 record. So I think it's really tough to give him anything less than an A+. If you don't have Dak Prescott on your roster, this is a Cowboys team that's probably 0-4 at the moment. And instead, they've got a chance to stay within the division and win a game this week. And then they're back to 500 with a tie on the board too.
Yeah. I have him as an A. I love how he's playing. It reminds me of 2023.
Yeah.
Boy, 2023 was a good year. I thought he deserved MVP that year over Lamar in terms of he had more total yards, more total touchdowns, less total turnovers. And I hate the tie. I hate the games. I actually despise the tie. I want to talk about that later because that's something I think the NFL, because you saw how like the Bills Chiefs game in the playoffs caused the 2 possessions in overtime. Yep. I want to see what your thoughts are on like a potential maybe removing ties.
I think the competition committee, and we talked with Stephen Jones, the Cowboys COO, earlier in the week. He's on the competition committee. He understands that fans want to see a winner. They want to see a result. And even I was having a conversation with Brock Hoffman, the Cowboys' current center at the moment. And he said, I hate ties. I hate to do all that work and to end up without a winner. And I think the players and coaches feel the same way. But from an ownership standpoint, from a league standpoint, they do see it as a safety issue. They don't want to give any more opportunities for players to get hurt or for the way that the game turned out. There's a lot of games in a overtime sense that are bad games, 10-10, 7-7, just gross football games that end in a tie. This just happened to be one of the more entertaining games and a highly emotional games of the year that just was so well played by both sides that there was a lot of intrigue around it on primetime television. So yeah, the fan base and everybody wanted to clamor for ties. I don't think there's going to be any change anytime soon. I don't like it either, but I understand why they have not made a change like that. And after 10 minutes of regulation, either make it 15 and push the time a little bit further so that way you have more than 2 possessions, or let's go to the college rules where you alternate back and forth. And then you don't have to worry about the longevity and the health of players. And you can kind of go back and forth until you get a winner.
Yep. Yep. So let's go back to that first segment, though. I kind of led us down a long path there, but next player I've got is Donovan Wilson, and
Ooh.
I've always loved Dono. I don't think he's been great this season.
Yeah.
I have him at like a C- D+.
Yeah, the first thing I thought was D+. Just because he's been in a rough spot when it comes to coverage. The only reason I think I'll go with you, and I'll actually go to the upper end and do a C- here, is because he's still showing an ability to come downhill and hit and be physical and make some impact in the box, which is something that as a safety he has done throughout his career. I just think the first couple of weeks of the year, Coach Eberflus probably saw him as a system guy that, oh, he's going to fit where we put him in. And that's not the case. He's a liability in coverage. And he's not the only one. I think Jack Sanborn has shown he's not as good in coverage as they thought. Same thing with Kenneth Murray at the linebacker position. So I'd say C- for Dono. I think he has a chance to continue moving up the ranks. And without Malik Hooker this week, the Cowboys are going to have to deal with Donovan Wilson and Wanye Thomas. It's going to be an interesting pairing for sure.
Yeah. You mentioned Jack Sanborn. He's who I had next on the list. I have him a little lower. I have him as a D. I don't like Jack Sanborn getting all the snaps over Marist. I liked how we saw more of Marist against the Packers. I didn't like exactly the missed tackle. And then obviously that penalty was kind of that was boneheaded. But I mean, you live and you learn. You get better. You learn from mistakes like that.
So with Jack Sanborn, I agree with you. I wanted to see more Maris Leofow. But if I'm being completely honest, I think Maris Leofow didn't do himself any favors. He missed 3 tackles, didn't finish with a tackle, even though he had more snaps in week 4 than he did in the prior 3 weeks combined. So he didn't really do himself any favors, despite, I think, what we all saw is the special teams play, what he's done down the field, what he did in spot duty at different times through the first 3 weeks of the season. And then he comes in and just didn't play well. And sometimes there's a bad day at the office. So I think you'll get another chance. I think Coach Eberflus will give Leofow another chance to rotate in and make sure he's good to go. But for the most part, I still think Jack Sanborn's going to see the majority of the reps. He just hasn't played well. So I'm going to go with you. I'm going to say a D in his grade so far. It hasn't been completely dismal because he has made some plays and he has been in the right place at the right time. But it looks like he's just moving slow and teams are trying to take advantage of him and of Kenneth Murray. Kenneth Murray's done a better job of adjusting, I think, throughout the season to avoid some of those problems.
Yeah. Next guy I got is a guy I've absolutely loved this season, Javonte Williams. I've loved him.
Yeah, give me a B+ for Williams. He's been a tough runner. He's been patient behind the line of scrimmage. He allows for blocks to develop. He does a great job of seeing the field and seeing how it's going to work, and he runs so tough. The only reason I wouldn't say A right now is because he hasn't broken the big play yet. His biggest play from scrimmage came against the Chicago Bears, and he fumbled at the end of it. So I want to see him break the home run play and finish a run because I think as a running back and a bell cow, he's shown that he can be that for this Cowboys team. But for the most part, he still needs to be a guy who can finish. And so I'm not going to say A+. That's guys like Jonathan Taylor. That's guys like Kyron Williams who have played well this year. Give me a B+ for Javonte Williams, which I think Cowboys fans will take every day.
Yeah, I had him at an A. I can be swayed to A-, but and I think you did a good job.
That's okay.
Yeah. It's been so weird for the Dallas Cowboys, a team that, for years has been pass rush has been great, run game, stopping the run has been awful, and on the other side of the ball, it's been our run game just hasn't been great the past couple of years. So immediately, like this year, it feels like a 180 almost.
Yeah.
Kenny Clark
Yeah,
obviously
really
is a big piece of that.
huge part of that. And the way you're right, they've really hung their hat on getting pressure and not stopping the run. And this year they can't get any pressure, but they are stopping the run. On the offensive side, it's been run or pass to set up the run, and hopefully play action works because Dak is so good on in play action situations. Now it's play action is working because our ground game is pretty good up front. It is. It's completely flip flopped. I mean, the secondary was really a strong point for this team over the last few years, with guys like Deron Bland having record breaking seasons, Trayvon Diggs having record breaking seasons, and now they can't stay healthy enough to be on the field. Same thing with the offensive line. I mean, the offensive line with Zach Martin and Tyron Smith and Tyler Smith recently, Travis Frederick before that, all had these three-headed monsters. You feel like you've got that back this year, and then they all get hurt. And now you're dealing with possibly 4 of your 5 starting offensive linemen out in one particular game. So you're right. It's crazy how quickly the NFL flips storylines on its heads. And that's why it is such an interesting league and why so many fans do keep up with it, because of the parity that it shows day in and day out.
Yeah. Um, I the next thing I want to talk about is kind of like is about the defense and about how our pass rush, how bad it's been pretty not great.
Yeah.
The secondary has not helped, but like which is contributing more? Is it bad secondary that's not giving enough time to the pass rush, or is the pass rush not helping out the secondary? You know, because they kind of, it's like a balancing act.
Yeah, they play off of each other. I think it has to do with the lack of pass rush, because even when the pass rush is given time to get home, quarterbacks are escaping out of the pocket like Jalen Hurts, like Russell Wilson, like Caleb Williams, and like Jordan Love. Oh, that's all the quarterbacks the Cowboys have played this year. It's every single one of them have had success rolling out of the pocket to avoid even an ounce of pressure whenever it does show up. So the secondary not only is having to hold for an extended period of time, but they're having to deal with broken plays and overly communicating from a big play standpoint. And that's where the 30, 35-yard completions are coming in, is when guys are able to roll out, extend the play, and throw downfield, which if you're a quarterback in the NFL now, most of the time you're going to have that ability to do so. So, yeah, I think if your pass rush starts getting home and finishing plays, you're going to automatically see the secondary have a little bit more success in the back end.
Yeah, and so that I love talking Cowboys. I love being able to talk about the Cowboys with you, but I'm in college right now.
Yeah.
For my major is broadcast journalism. Pretty much I want your job. I'm gunning for you.
That's okay. Yeah.
Maybe at some point. Maybe I can sit at the table with all the guys.
Come on now.
Yeah. But I kind of want to talk about like your path in getting there, and like what was college like? When did you know that you wanted to get into sports? Obviously high school, you probably started that journey. What was like the start?
Yeah, so I've always been a sports fan. I grew up in Waco, Texas, grew up around Baylor football, Baylor basketball before they were really good. And even when I was watching bad teams play, I just loved the atmosphere. I loved sports fans. I loved getting to see different teams every week, going to see Nebraska basketball or Texas football, and A&M would come to town a little bit. And so you get to see the Aggies and you get to hear the war hymn and things like that. I just love the pageantry of sports. And so I'd always had a passion for it and always loved it. My parents loved it. I played them growing up. And so I got into high school and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to go to college for. And I didn't grow up with a ton of money. I was a middle-class kid, and lower middle class for that matter. And was blessed to have enough to get by, to where I never had to worry about what I was going to do to survive. I could at least say, hey, if I want to chase my dreams, I have enough opportunity to do so. But I knew I was going to have limitations. So I wasn't able to go to a private school. So Syracuse and some of those other big time institutions for broadcasting were out of the question. And I was like, what could be a position for me to pursue sports? And North Texas was a state institution that had a nationally ranked sports broadcasting program. And so I basically, as a junior, decided I want to go to school for this. I want to go and do some things at North Texas in a big time market to where I can set myself up for success and not spend a ton of money doing so to help my family out and to try and take care of the tuition on my end. So I really started pursuing it as a junior in high school. I looked after internships. I did some stuff with the creative department in our school. I played sports, so it was when I wasn't playing sports and when I wasn't doing my fine arts. I was also in band for a little bit, and so I because I enjoy music. That's kind of a secondary hobby of mine. And so with all that being said, I just did what I could where I could. And I ended up landing an internship at ESPN Radio in town, which was the flagship station for Baylor athletics out of high school. And that was kind of my first start and first introduction into the business. Went to school. And one of the things they told me was get as many reps as possible. So I joined the television station. I joined the newspaper. I started looking for outside freelance opportunities, and I specifically wanted to do on air stuff. And so I went and did as many high school football games and lacrosse games and basketball games that I possibly could while I was there. Ended up getting on with a company in town. It was a third party company that did a bunch of freelance gigs and relied on a lot of freelance talent that was young. And I happened to be one that was starting to get some recognition and starting to have some success on a microphone. And they decided to play off of that. And they struck a deal with the Cowboys. And they said, we're going to do a high school football scoreboard show from the Cowboys podcast facility at the Star. And I said, I would love an opportunity to host that. Let's do it. I hopped on there, started doing it. It was a 4-hour show every Friday night where we would go through the high school areas, schools and break down the games and get to know the coaches and things like that. It grew and grew, and we had a lot of success and had some really loyal listeners around the area, which was great. And the Cowboys took notice and they said, hey, I know you're doing this on-air stuff. Would you do a behind-the-scenes show or behind-the-scenes job opportunity as well? And so I took a job with the Cowboys as a production assistant where I was editing video and I was shooting stand-ups and I was doing different elements that weren't on air just to get the foot in the door. And then they had a couple people leave their full-time jobs. I filled in for them. Right at the start of me filling in for them was when COVID hit in 2020. And so I had spent the 2019 season as a production assistant, started doing some on-air stuff. And then in 2020, they decided to make me the full-time TV and podcast host for the Cowboys. And so it's been such a blessing to be at the right place at the right time. But as I tell a lot of young broadcasters, it's about when preparation meets opportunity. I had the opportunity to edit video, to shoot cameras, to know how to do all of these different elements of how to be well-rounded in the business. And because of that, when the opportunity came for a production job and not an on-air position, I was able to take that, keep doing on-air stuff to keep my skill set sharpened and stay up to date on my on-air talent outside of the building with the Cowboys. So that way, when an opportunity came to come on air and to be on air, I was able to take advantage of that. So I know that's a super long answer and there's a lot of information there, Dallas, whenever it comes to how I got to where I would be. But if I had to boil it down, I just took as many opportunities as I could, tried to be as well-rounded as I could, learn all of these elements because you never know when an opportunity is going to arise. And when it does, you're going to have to capitalize on it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty, I don't even know what to say, man. I mean, this is podcast one. You can tell. I'm still a little nervous.
That's okay. Hey, and that's the thing is like, you got to start somewhere. And I tell somebody, and I know for the other classmates that are going to watch this, I know you're going to look at your own podcast. You're going to be overly critical. It's okay to be critical, but it's not okay to beat yourself up. That's one thing too, because you're going to make mistakes. And the place to make mistakes is when you're in college and when you're young as a broadcaster, because I'm not even in my 30s yet. And I'm still learning every single day new things about this business and new ways to get better. And I know my best broadcasting is still ahead of me, but I've also known some other broadcasters. I'm really close with the Rangers play-by-play voice. His name's Eric Nadel in the area. He's a Robert Frick Award winner. He's in the National Baseball Hall of Fame. And I asked him one time. He got mad at me for asking this. I asked him one time. I said, "Is there a way that I can become a perfect broadcaster like you?" And he hated that. He's like, "There's no such thing as a perfect broadcast, Kyle. And I don't know why you would think I'm perfect, because I'm not. Everybody's going to make mistakes. Even if you're a Hall of Fame level broadcaster like Eric is," he said he has never in his entire career had a perfect broadcast. There's always something you can do better. And that's always stuck with me, because even if you're going to mess up, you're going to flub a word here. You're going to have to retape something here. All of this element is there, but as long as you treat people the right way, and you know that there's ways to get better, and you try and correct those from broadcast to broadcast, that's when you're going to be the best version of yourself, and actually be confident in what you're doing.
Yeah. I do want to thank you for being willing to join me. I know you're down in Texas. We're up in Minnesota. Being able to make this happen over Zoom, I really appreciate you, especially with the technical difficulties I had before.
Hey, listeners don't know about that either. You don't have to say anything about that. Listeners don't know about the technical difficulties.
But yeah, I do really want to thank you for your time, and thank you for stopping in and helping me out. And I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, Dallas. Anytime you need me.
Yeah. And for the people listening, thank you guys for stopping in, and I'll see you in my next podcast.